Hello, everyone. Happy Monday. Today's Monday. Yes. Happy Monday. I hope everyone is having a great week so far. And today we have a good session lined up. So, as Instagram sends out all the little notifications to let you know that we are online and live, I just wanted to send out good cheer. I'll play a little music while I wait for everyone to join. Hi, Felician. Hi, Shanice. Thanks for joining. Hi, Angela. Hi, Mr. Jojo. Hi, Emma. Hi, everyone. So, as you know, today we're talking financial planning, and we have with us Joel. Let me turn my music off now.
I
Joel, how are you?
am trying to get my camera get in focus. Okay, I think this is a lot better. The other chair I had was too low. Can you see me
Hi,
now?
Carla. Yes, it's a trick. After a while, you
Yeah,
get accustomed to doing, knowing what position to
yeah.
put yourself in. So, hello everyone. Thank you for joining. It's Dr. Jackman and Joelle here today, and we're going to talk about financial planning during COVID and beyond. So, Mr. Joel Boissiere is a talented young man, and he hails from the beautiful Twin Island Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. Let's say yay. Obviously, I'm biased. That's where I'm from. So Joel is originally from Trinidad and Tobago, as I said, where he did his bachelor's in the science of banking and finance at the University of the West Indies. He now lives and works in New York as a very wise, certified financial advisor. He has over 5 years of experience in this field, very passionate. And Joel also is a marathon runner. Not me, I don't run, but Joel's also a marathon runner. And unfortunately, he was planning for a big marathon in Berlin, which
Yeah,
obviously has been postponed because of Corona.
yeah.
So welcome, Joel. This is also Joel's first Instagram Live.
On the first one, and you forgot that. Well, you don't remember, but I remember you growing up as a child because we lived in the same neighborhood, like a
Oh,
few.
wow.
So, yeah, so we've known each other for quite some time now.
Right.
Yeah.
Joel, I know I did a little introduction for you, but if there's anything else you want to add about yourself. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining. Joel.
There's nothing I want to add about myself except if after this you feel like reaching out to me for any reason, feel free to slide into my DMs and I'll be happy to answer any questions you have.
And we will also put his, what do you call it? Instagram handle, but it's on the post as well, the post. So today, as I said before, we're going to talk about financial planning during COVID and beyond. And I know for a lot of us, it is daunting times right now because a lot of us are experiencing a lot of financial constraints. Some people, the volume is low. Let's see.
Okay, I just my volume up. Can you hear me better now, Felicia?
Is the volume better? We're going to continue. I'll project my voice just a little louder just in case.
Yeah.
So a lot of us are experiencing financial hardships during coronavirus. Businesses are down. Some businesses are non-existent. A lot of people have been terminated from employment. Some people have been placed on temporary furloughs. And even those who are actively working may be making less than their usual income. So I think it's a very good time to discuss financial planning. And this is something that definitely can be taken beyond this time, even after coronavirus, has hopefully in soon times resolved. So they're saying that my volume is fine. Joel, you are a bit soft and
Okay.
muffled.
Let me know if you guys can hear me now. Testing one, two, three. If you can't hear me, let me know. I'll try to fix it.
Okay. So, Joel, I want you to be able to tell us, why is financial planning important?
All right. So, like anything in life, you need to have a plan, right? But I think that regardless of what it is that you want, without realizing it or not, there is going to be a cost attached to it. It could be,
That is true.
and to put this into perspective, I just want to list the cost of a few things that most of us may dream of having at some point in our lives. But
Okay.
just bear in mind that these costs may be specific to prices in the US, the average cost in the US, right?
Right.
So if you are planning to go to school, okay, someone's telling me the audio is good now, so that's good. If you're planning to go to school out of state, the average cost is going to be about, do you want to guess, Janelle, per year?
Per year, I will say 50,000 US. I'm not good at this. I didn't go to school here.
It could run you about 50,000, but the average, and this is being conservative, is about 25,000 per year.
25.
And on average, you're going to go to school for about 4 years for your bachelor's, right?
Okay.
The cost of a wedding. You want to take a guess at that?
I will say, I don't know why 50,000 is stuck in my head.
50,000 is on the high end if you're not too crazy, but the average, being conservative, is about $30,000. That's that's a lot for a wedding. Actually, it's not really a lot because someone is saying $75,000.
She's married, so she probably knows what some of the costs she had to incur.
All right, this will be up your alley because I know as a doctor you deal with I don't know what the correct term is. You're an OBGYN, right?
Yes, I am an obstetrician and gynecologist.
That means you do what exactly?
So an obstetrician and gynecologist, obstetrics deal with pregnant patients, whereas gynecology is everything else with the female reproductive in a non-pregnant patient.
Okay, so what would the hospital expenses for birth of a newborn be on average?
So funny enough, doctors, we don't really deal with prices. We have like a whole department for that, but I will say like $6,000.
Yeah, you're right. It's about 5,000 to 9,000, and that's the thing. Like, okay, so just the other list item I have on my list is yearly retirement expenses, and that's about 36,000 per year.
Okay. Wow.
Retire at, let's say, age 60 and life expectancy is about 80 something. You have 20 something years that you have to find 36,000, and you're not having an income coming unless you have a pension or unless you have planned for this event. So what I'm just using these examples to put things in perspective so that everyone can understand that it doesn't matter what, you will have to have a price attached to whatever you're dreaming. People often say, hey, you can't put a price on that, but I'm here to say that you can. And I remember growing up, there were a lot of things that I had to do without, or a lot of dreams that I had to defer. And it wasn't because I didn't have the talent or I didn't have the ability to do it, but I just simply couldn't afford it.
Right.
And so that's why now I really do find a lot of pleasure in my job because I can help people plan for the things that they want. And that's why financial planning is important. So
more or less, everything has a cost, people, regardless of what you think your goal is or isn't. It's coming with a price tag.
Yes.
And planning is the best way to look forward to the future, whatever your future may hold.
That's correct.
So what are some of the elements of like a sound financial plan?
All right, so I'll preface by saying that there's really no set template, but I think that there are 5 key areas that you should look at. I wouldn't list them, and I would just talk a little bit about why each area is important. And if you have any questions, you can feel free to stop me. If anyone who is joined in right now has any questions, feel free to ask, and I'll try my best to include it in my answer. So the first one is a retirement strategy. We just saw that retirement can cost you about $36,000 a year.
Right.
And this is really important because we go into it in a little bit more detail as we discuss further. But I think people generally think, okay, I'm retired now, my costs are going to go down.
Right.
And in some cases, more likely than not, you actually spend a lot more in retirement than before you were retired. So retirement strategy is really important. And specifically for those living in the US, I think a 401 is really important. Janelle, I know you and I had conversations about 401 before, and I want to encourage everyone whose employer has a 401k to take advantage of it. And that's because what a 401k does is it's one of those retirement vehicles that will reduce your tax exposure. So whatever it is you contribute to the 401k during the year, you can get a reduction on your tax liability for the next year. So in other words, that means that you're actually increasing your cash flow.
Right.
If you don't have access to a 401k, then you can take advantage of an IRA, which is another tax advantage vehicle, or you can take advantage of an annuity. And I think annuities are around more or less the same around the globe. It's your way of saving for your own retirement.
Right.
The other element is a risk management plan, and that's a nice.
Before you move on, Joel, sorry, I have one question. Someone's asking if a 401k, is equivalent to mutual funds in the Caribbean, and I see that a response that it's annuity in the Caribbean.
So a 401k is that's just the tax code, the IRS tax code. It's I won't say it's similar to an annuity, but I can understand why someone would say that it is. So it's essentially a way for you to contribute a portion of your own salary to retirement. In some cases, your employer would match whatever you contribute. So if you contribute, let's say $30, the employer is going to match $30.
Right.
In some cases, the employer is not going to match $30. But the good thing about it is whatever you contribute is your money. So even if you leave the job, you get to take your $30 with you.
Right.
In some cases, there's going to be a period where the employer says, we will match with you, but if you leave before a certain time, then you take whatever you contribute, but whatever we contributed, you don't get to keep that. Unless for a certain number of years, then you get to take whatever we contribute and whatever you contribute. So, but the thing about a 401k, and I'll go into that later, is that people say it's a savings tool. It's really an investment tool because it's invested in different financial instruments. Just to answer the question, it's not similar to a mutual fund. A mutual fund is different, but I will explain later on what a mutual fund is.
Okay.
Yeah. So the next one is a risk management plan. That's I guess a fancy term for insurance.
Okay.
Because insurance is really just minimizing your risk. And the main kinds of insurance would be like disability insurance, personal liability. I'm sure as a doctor, you probably have to have liability insurance as well. Life insurance, which is really important for people who have families and who are breadwinners, because just imagine you are the sole breadwinner and something were to happen to you.
Right.
In the event of your untimely death, then your family has some kind of an income coming in. And I think as well, long-term care is really important. The reason why I stress on long-term care is because life expectancy, thanks to doctors, is going up. And so let's say you retire at age 60, you have like 20 more years to live, right?
Hopefully more.
Sorry?
I said hopefully more.
Well, I mean, yeah, if you can't afford it, because the point I'm trying to make here is that you're going to have a lot of chronic illnesses at this point in time, and that's why long-term care really comes into play here. It's really important. The next thing I would say is estate planning. That's really important for a financial plan. A lot of people die suddenly and they don't have a will in place. When I say estate planning, I'm not just talking about bills, but I also want to talk about putting things in place, not just financially, in terms of saying who gets what assets and how assets should be divided.
Right.
But also putting things in place in the event that you are medically incapacitated. so that, if you end up in hospital, and you want to make sure that those close to you have clear instructions on what decisions you would want to be made. So
Okay.
it's important to have that plan from a financial point of view, as well as from a medical point of view as well. Next thing I want to talk about is having a long-term investment plan. Now, all of these that I discussed before is totally different from your investment plan.
Okay.
So this is what we call financial planning. So it's really important to have an investment plan, which will be different from. But I mean, when you're planning for your retirement, yes, you are investing in the market as well, but it's also good to have a long-term investment plan. So we'll talk about this a little bit more later, going into what kind of assets you want to invest in. If it's real estate, which is one class of assets, if you want to invest in short-term stuff like mutual funds, or if you want to get involved in things like bonds, equities, because right now in the stock market, things are basically on sale, so it's a really good opportunity for investors to invest. And the last thing, of course, is a tax reduction strategy. So making sure that you invest in those that will reduce your tax liability and thereby increase your cash flow. That's more then better for you, right?
And would a 401k be included kind of like in that as well, or we're talking about different vehicles?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Okay.
401k would be included in that, yeah.
Okay, so going more into the 401k. So if I contribute to my 401k, because this is a retirement saving plan, as you mentioned earlier, do you think that I am all set for retirement because I did my 401k contribution?
Yeah. So I'm really happy that you said for a retirement saving plan, you refer to the 401k as a retirement saving plan, because I get to correct you. A lot of people think savings and 401k. A 401k is really an investment tool.
Okay.
Because let's put the perspective here, right? You have money sitting in the bank in a savings account. You're getting less than 1%. You're getting very close to 0% on that.
Right.
And that's because you're really not taking on any risk. So if you're not taking, remember in investing, risk and return are directly correlated.
Yes.
So if you take more risk, then the return would be greater. And so if your money is sitting in a savings account, you're not going to get any kind of return on it, right? But with a 401k, the money is directly invested in the financial markets in different instruments. And so it's really investing for your retirement, not necessarily savings. I think it's really important to distinguish saving and investing, because that's a mistake a lot of people make. But to answer your question, I just want to touch on the point I made earlier about how much costs increase when you are in retirement, because there's a misconception that because you're retired now you're going to spend less, right? So according to the Employment Benefit Research Institute, 33% of households increase their spending in the first 6 years of retirement, and that is mainly due to increased healthcare costs.
Oh.
And that's why I said in the earlier slide that long-term care is really, really important in planning for your finances. And these costs are, I think, specific to New York State, because you and I live in New York State, but I guess those people could look up what it costs. Whatever it would cost in their part of the world.
Right.
Housing would be, this is really, really conservative. Housing would cost you about $1,322 a month.
Tell me where that housing is. Let me move now.
So I know in some parts of New York they have programs that would reduce costs for people in retirement.
Got you. Okay.
Yeah. Healthcare would cost you about $499, and that again is being conservative.
Right.
So the only cost that is likely to be reduced would be transport, because you're not driving to and from work every day, you're not taking the subway to work every day. So that reduces it.
I think the buses and the subways have a reduced fare in New York, and I know for Trinidad as well.
Yeah.
For elderly people, I think it's free in Trinidad, and I think it's reduced in New York.
So that's about the only
The only thing that's going to be smaller, yeah.
Food is about 483, clothing about 118, utilities is kind of high, 2060. And I just want to leave one more statistic. You may need up to about 85% of your pre-retirement income in retirement. So all this to say, contributing to your 401k alone is not going to be enough for you in retirement.
Okay.
You supplement. I mean, you don't have to, but if you want to live a comfortable life, you should supplement it with other retirement tools like an IRA or an annuity.
Okay. So I have one question here. Would you recommend someone opening a Robinhood account and start to buy stocks, as you said that they are now at a discount?
Yeah. So I can't vouch for any one particular company or product.
Company.
So, but it is a good idea to open a brokerage account and start investing. But before you do open a brokerage account, I think it's really important to understand certain things. Understand what appetite is. And let me just touch on brokerage accounts. A brokerage account is for those people who want to invest in the stock market.
Joel, you're going in and out
Okay.
in terms of volume.
Is this better now?
For now, yes.
Okay. Let me know if you can't hear me anymore. What was the last thing you heard?
A brokerage account is for someone who wants to go ahead.
A brokerage account is really for someone who would like to invest in the stock market.
Okay.
And the thing about stocks is that prices are going to fluctuate, especially like on the New York Stock Exchange and so on. You know, you wake up in the morning and the price is $20, and by the evening it's $5.
Right.
If you cannot take the emotions out of investing, then that may not be the road for you to take. There would be other vehicles
Right.
for more diversification, like mutual funds and ETFs, which we can get into later on.
Right.
But yes, I would advise getting a brokerage account. But first of all, understand that it is not for emotional investors, and understand what your risk appetite is. If you are someone who is willing to take on risk, then yes, a brokerage account is for you. Also, you need to understand what's important to you. Are you the kind of investor that wants to get income? And when I say income, do you want to purchase stocks that is going to give you dividends? Or are you the kind of investor that's looking for growth? So is it that dividends are more important to you, or is it that growth and appreciation is more important to you?
Okay. There are a few more questions.
Yeah.
So savings are usually recommended at 10%. How much would you recommend for investments?
So I think what that person is trying to ask is that you save 10% of your salary.
Right.
And how much for investments. So that's a good question. I would say that it really depends on how much you are willing to. I want to be really careful about using this word, but I would say it depends on how much you're willing
to
risk.
To risk.
Yeah, because remember, risk and reward are directly correlated. So the person who could put aside 5% of their salary every month and not worry about it, then that's okay. Now, as we go more into the conversation, I'm going to talk about a strategy called dollar cost averaging.
Okay.
And this will maybe answer this question in more detail.
Okay. So I'll just do one more question before we go on, okay?
Okay. Sure.
Should we decrease the amount of money allocated to our 401k given the volatility of the market currently? And then tack on to that is what percentage of salary to contribute to 401k?
Absolutely do not decrease the amount. And again, this question will be answered when I talk about dollar cost averaging. If you have been consistently contributing $200 to your 401k or any other kind of investment on a monthly basis, you should continue contributing that $200. Part of the reason is that prices are low right now. So
you
you're
buy more.
actually able to buy more. So this is,
Right.
if you can increase the amount you want to contribute right now, you actually should increase the amount that
Right.
right now. And what was the other part of the question?
Percentage of salary to contribute to 401k.
Yeah, that's not a question and answer that I can give across the board because people are going to have different expenses. So it really depends on what your disposable income is and
Right.
what you think you can comfortably contribute.
And this is so highlighting the importance of financial advisors to help you to
Yeah,
personally allocate what you make, what your expenses are,
yeah,
what your projected goals in the future are, and come up with a personalized plan. Because it's really not a one size fit all. He can't tell you 5% here,
yeah,
10% there. It doesn't work like that. Hmm?
definitely.
Okay. So what I wanted to know, we talked about 401k, that it's not really the best and sole retirement vehicle. So what are
It,
other retirement vehicles?
it's not that the 401k is the best. I highly recommend the 401k, but what I'm saying is that it's not people, some people have the idea that, okay, I am contributing to my 401k, so therefore I'm doing enough. What I'm
Right.
saying is that the 401k is great, but you should supplement it with something else.
Right.
And so what you can supplement it with is, and I mentioned some of these before, you can supplement it with an IRA. That just means investment retirement accounts. And we have these kinds of accounts throughout the world. And I think here in the US, you can contribute up to $6,000
Right.
on a yearly basis, and it reduces your tax liability. And then you have something called a Roth IRA, which is similar to an IRA. Just the difference between the two is that with the Roth IRA, you pay your taxes up front. So with the Roth IRA, you are contributing money that is already taxed. So on the back end of it, when you are withdrawing, the money is not the money you contributed isn't going to be taxed. The only thing that's
Right.
going to be taxed is the capital gains. But with the regular IRA, because it's pre-tax money, on the back end, when you're withdrawing or you're taking out your distributions, then you're going to pay a tax on the contribution as well as the capital gains. So it's just
Okay.
a matter of when you want to pay the taxes.
Right.
And then, of course, the other tool you have is an annuity. And an annuity is essentially a contract between yourself and an insurance company that you contribute a certain amount of money, and at a certain date, then you either get a lump sum or you get a stream of payments over a particular period of time. And this is all determined at the time of signing the contract. And the annuity can be either fixed or variable. Fixed annuities tend to be generally invested in more safe instruments, whereas
Right.
variable annuities are invested directly in the market, and the potential for reward is greater because the risk is greater.
So before I move on, I have two questions.
I saw someone ask a question if it's normal for financial advisors to sell life insurance, disability insurance, or should I be wary if one tries to? So a financial advisor can sell you life insurance as well, but a financial advisor should not just sell you life insurance. Your financial advisor should be giving you a holistic plan. So they should be looking at, because the truth is that life insurance may or may not be the best item for you. If you're planning for your retirement, there's no need for life insurance.
Right.
It really depends on what your needs are. The first thing the investment financial advisor needs to do is a needs assessment, find out what your needs are, and then give you a solution for that need. So if you want to invest and the advisor is giving you insurance, then that's a sign that that advisor does not have your best needs.
Right.
Yeah.
So one more question I saw earlier on is, when do you know when to sell your stock? And I know that's never when it's low.
Yeah, so I think that person is trying to time the market. So say this, if you really need the money, you need the money, so you have to sell it, right? But you don't want to sell when the price is low. And the thing with stocks is that stocks should be a long-term play. So
it's a marathon.
yeah, exactly.
A
Yes.
brilliant marathon.
You want to sell your stocks when the price is high. You obviously want to sell it for more than you purchased it for, and you also would once you're getting closer to your retirement years, you don't want to be too heavily invested in the stock markets. You will want to come out of the stock markets and put your money into less risky instruments like mutual funds and money market instruments and so on, right? And
Right.
that's why earlier I said it was important to really understand what's what matters to you when you're buying stocks. Are you
Right.
interested in growth, or are you more interested in income? Because even though the price may be a bit low, the dividend yield may still be very good.
Right.
So if you're really interested in getting those dividends, then you may not want to sell those stocks.
Right.
Just because the price dips. So I hope that answers your question.
Thank you. So right now we have coronavirus pandemic. Most people are, unemployed, furloughed, working less, working for less, or not working at all. So due to all of this with coronavirus, we have market prices that are significantly down. Would this be a good time for people who have never invested before to start investing, or for people who invested already to continue investing?
Yes, to both questions, it is an excellent time to invest. Um, I just want to talk about emotions for a bit and something that we call noise, right? So noise is just like bad news you're going to be hearing about. So let's just walk it back a little bit, right? Prior to coronavirus, there was a lot of emotions and panic about Brexit. Oh my God,
About what?
Brexit.
Okay.
Yeah, the market is going to be doing so badly because of Brexit, blah, blah, blah. And we recovered from that, right? Before that, we had like the subprime mortgage crisis in 2008, 2009. Everybody was in a panic because the market was doing badly. But, you know, we rebounded from that. And it's
Right.
the same thing with coronavirus. There's a lot of emotions, a lot of panicking. And it's kind of odd to me that investors who have been investing for so long don't realize that, hey, every couple of years there is going to be some kind of significant event that is going to happen.
Right.
So it's really important to remove those emotions, and just having a chat with your financial advisor could help you put things in perspective. And one thing I want to touch on, it's really not about timing the market, but it's about how much time you have spent in the market.
Okay.
Put this in perspective, back in 1997, do you know how much Amazon was selling their shares for?
1997 was a while ago, so I'm gonna say $5.
I wish it was $5. I would say I would have bought some, but in 1997, I think I was just entering high school, so
Oh,
I had no idea about shares. But in 1997, Amazon's share price was $18 a share.
18.
18, and today it's upwards of $2,400 a share.
Oh, wow.
What I'm saying is that it's more than in 1997, and then in 2000 when the tech bubble had burst, and you panicked, and you pulled out all your money. Or okay, let's say you you got through that, but then when the mortgage crisis has happened in 2008, 2009, and you pull out your Amazon stocks,
Right.
right? Or you pull it out of Brexit, you would have been pissed because you would not have had that $2,400 per share. I
First
mean,
off.
yeah, like you would have lost out. So, yes, we should invest. The prices are very low right now. My thing is like, don't try to time the market. That goes back to the other question someone asked earlier about when is a good time for me to pull out. I mean, like, it's on a needs basis or case by case basis, but don't try to time and be like, okay, it's not going to go higher, because who would have thought that Amazon would have gone from $18 a share
To
to
2,400.
per share,
Right.
right? Yeah. So take advantage of low prices right now if you can, and for those that may not have the funds to invest right now in the stock market, or those that are not interested in being exposed to that much risk, there are options available for you that is going to offer diversification, such as mutual funds
Right.
and ETFs, and we can discuss that later on.
Okay. I can tell you personally for myself, I am a recent investor, as you know.
Yeah.
And when the corona pandemic happened, oh my gosh, I was panicking and I kept checking. I have a little app that tells me, shows me like the gross summary of my investment. And I kept checking it and I just started to see the decline. And I was panicking every day until literally everybody was like, you need to stop checking it first and foremost. It will rebound, and the only time you really lose is if you sell. Once you stay in the market, it will eventually go back up and you will regain your money plus more. It's only a loss if you sell when it's lower than what you bought it at. So
that's a really good point that I forgot. So you said you only lose if you sell, and that's what we call a paper loss. So you don't actually realize a loss unless you sell.
Right.
Right? So yeah, the value of your portfolio may be lower in total. But unless you go to a broker and be like, hey, sell 15 of my Amazon shares, you have not actually lost anything. Because you still have time. Felicia is saying now was a good time to try option trading. Now was an excellent time to try option trading for Felicia, but that is a little bit advanced. We're not going to get into options.
I don't even know what that is yet.
We're going to get into options. Feel free to slide into my DM and we can have a conversation.
Mr. Jojo 84. So as I can tell you, from my personal experience, especially being a novice in the investment market, I was having a bit of a panic attack in, I think it was like February into March. And honestly, the majority of the account has recuperated. So all the money that I did lose and was like worrying about, I have actually made it back already, even though we're still operating at like a bit of a deficit. I think the market has already started to like slowly it fluctuates. But
Janelle, do you realize the error you made?
No.
When the prices go down, what should you have done?
I should have bought way more.
Because you see already that the prices are starting to go back up. And when it's in perspective, right, it hasn't been that long. It's just a matter of months.
Right.
If you had actually doubled the amount that you were putting in at that time, then
it would have been way better.
Yeah.
To be honest, I was a bit stubborn because I was just seeing the loss. But now I'm a bit more educated, and this conversation is going to educate me way more. And now I'd have a better understanding of investing beyond COVID. This is like during COVID.
Always remember that it's a paper loss, not an action.
Right.
And Felicia is saying I did, so I'm guessing Felicia said that she invested more. So you need to be Felicia.
I actually do know Felician, so we'd have to talk Felician. One question that I see before we move on, I'm looking for it. It's somebody who was talking about dividends. Okay, so Candy Cane says, I'm interested in buying stocks that pays dividends, but how do I know which stocks pays dividends and what the dividend yield is?
Yeah, so you could always a lot of like public companies, that information is available online. So you can see their financial statements. You can, just take a do a Google search and you can find that information. Or if you want to DM me and ask me about any specific companies you're interested in, you can feel free to do that.
Okay, so Mr. Jojo 84, we will put it up for you to be able, because I can imagine that you're going to get a lot of people sliding into your DMs after this conversation.
Okay.
So what advice do you have for investors well, we kind of touched that, or you want to have any more advice for investors during Corona?
There are a few things I want to touch on. I want to drive home the point of diversification. Diversification is really important. There are a lot of people who like to stock pick, and they would want to like, okay, I'm only going to invest in this stock, or I'm going to invest in stocks only. And if that's what you want to do, then that's fine. But that gives you a lot of exposure to one specific thing. even if you're only investing in stocks, right? If you invest only in tech stocks, for example, if there's any kind of issue in the tech sector, then your entire portfolio is going to do badly, right?
Correct.
So investing in stocks, you should be investing across different sectors. You should also invest across different geographical sectors as well, because something may go wrong in the Middle East. So if your entire portfolio is invested in the Middle East, then all of your exposure is going to be in the Middle East.
Right.
But moving away from stocks, there may be some investors who would have a lower risk appetite, and that's okay if your risk appetite is not high, because not everyone is the same.
Right.
You would want to get into stuff like mutual funds and ETFs, which I mentioned before. I think we're all familiar with mutual funds. So what a mutual fund is, instead of, let's say, Coke, Pepsi, and Yahoo, for example, instead of picking each individual stock, a mutual fund is a fund that's invested to some degree in each of these companies. And you are going to be investing into that fund. So you're not directly invested into those companies, but you're indirectly invested into those companies by being invested into that fund.
Right.
So that gives you a lot of diversification, which is great. It's also cheaper for you. But the downside of a mutual fund is that a mutual fund is going to have high fees.
High?
Fees.
Fees, okay.
And these fees will be disclosed to you before you sign the contract or open the account or whatever. The other option you have is an ETF, which means equity traded fund. And these are great. I personally have a lot of ETFs. I love them. And these are similar to mutual funds, except that they are directly, they trade on the stock market.
Okay.
It's going to offer you the same level of diversification. The fees aren't going to be as high, but they trade directly on the stock market. And you have different kinds of ETFs. So you could have like a leveraged ETF, which is going to give you, so let's say the stock market is doing, it grew by 10%, and your leveraged ETF is 10 times, then it's going to be 10 times what the stock market did.
Oh.
Or it could be an inverse. So if the stock market went down -10 and you have an inverse ETF, your inverse ETF is going to do +10. It's going to go the opposite direction. So you have different kinds of ETFs. You have mutual funds, which is going to give you that kind of diversification that you're really looking for if you are not interested in taking on too much risk. The other thing I want to touch on is dollar cost averaging, which I talked about earlier.
Right.
So what that is simply, if you've been investing, I wish I had a whiteboard to one example, but if you had been investing $100 a month, so let's say the cost of a share is $10, right? You can take your $100 and invest it, you're going to get 10 shares, right?
Right.
Or what you can do is, instead of investing that full $100 all at once, you can invest $10 a month. In month 1, it might be $10, you get 1 share. In month 2, it might be $9. You get more shares. In month 3, it might be $5, you get more shares. It may go up to $11, you may get less shares. But the key word to take into consideration here is average, right? So with that same $100, instead of getting 10 shares, there is a chance that because you have been buying on a consistent basis, putting in the same amount each month, regardless of the price of the share, that your average cost per share is going to be reduced.
Okay.
But the average value is going to be increased.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
If anyone is confused by dollar cost averaging, please say in the comments, and I'll go it over again, right? But the reason why dollar cost averaging is so important is because of 2 reasons. One, like I said, is going to give you reduced cost per share, and also it helps with discipline, so that you're not panicking every single time you see the market dip. Cindy, are you confused what averaging is?
I think Cindy's confused.
Yeah? just say, yes, I am confused, and I'll go it over, right? I'm going to try to...
If you have like a piece of paper, sometimes when I'm on a live,
okay.
Right.
So you're all going to help me with some math here, right?
Oh, used to be good at that.
And my handwriting is crappy. So let's use a product that we all use, Amazon. Everybody's home right now, so we're all ordering stuff on Amazon, right?
Right.
Most of us probably can't afford Amazon shares, but for this example, I'm going to say the cost of Amazon shares is $10.
Okay.
Right. So I'm going to put on one part here, money to be invested. P will be price and number of shares. Everyone can see this?
Not quite.
Okay, let me adjust my lighting. Can everyone see this?
A bit better, but Joel, your handwriting is like a doctor. That's not a compliment.
Okay, I promise I'm going to make this make sense. I promise. All right, so let's say you had $100.
Okay.
And the price was $10 per share. That means you're going to have 10 shares, right?
Right.
So you can see that?
Yes.
$10 per share, you have 10 shares. Right.
Correct.
Let's say you take a different route, and instead of depositing...
Write larger.
Okay, all right, I'll write larger. So let's say in the first month, you deposited $10, and the price was $10 per share. That means you have 10 shares. Generally, you have your calculator.
I will pull up one now online.
Because you're going to calculate this for me, because I don't want to calculate this in my head and I make a mistake and everybody's saying that
I got you.
Okay. Right. So if any calculations are wrong, it's Janelle's fault, disclaimer. Right, so $10, $10 per share, and the average units is 10, right? So
right.
This is month 1. Right, so I'm going to put here month 1. In month 2, could someone call a random number for me between 1 and 10, please? Anybody, just call a random number between 1 and 10. I feel like a magician now.
I will say 5.
Okay,
makes it
5.
easy.
All right. I went wrong the first time. You can correct me.
100.
It was 10, 10, 1. Because 10 divided by 10 is 1. 10 divided by 10 is not 10, right? All right. And then for month 2, you have $10. You're still going to invest the key thing here to remember is that you're investing the same amount each month. So
right.
You're investing
$10 again.
The price is 5. Now, even though the price fell, you're not panicking because you're taking a disciplined approach to investing using dollar cost averaging.
Right.
The amount
now we have 2.
Is going to be 2.
Right.
Right?
Yes.
So
somebody said 7 and then 8 after.
Okay, so notice already that when the price drops, the number of shares you have increases. And
right.
This is the important thing right now because you're not so much concerned with this number here because at this point in time, you're not selling anything.
Right.
Right? Okay. So then, number 3, 10 divided by 7 is what, Janelle? 1 point what?
10 divided by 7 equals 1.43.
1.43, right? So the price went back up a little bit. 10 divided by 7 is 1.43. Okay?
Then 8.
Month 4, 10 divided by 8 gives you 1.1.
1.25.
1.25. Okay, I'm not going to put this back up. We're just going to speed this up. Month 5, 10 divided by 6 is...
I thought you was going to use 2. 1.67.
1.67.
Yeah.
Month 6, 10 divided by 2 is 5.
Yes.
7. 10 divided by, let's go back up to 5, that's 2. And month 8, 10 divided by 6, 1.67. Month 9, 10 divided by 7 is 1.43. And let's say, for argument's sake, the price went up on the last month.
So you go 10 divided by 10.
By 10, they give you 1. So generally, going to add for me 10 plus 5 plus 7 plus 8 plus 6 plus 2 plus 5 plus 6 plus 7 plus 10.
So 10 plus 5 plus 7 plus 8 plus 6 plus 2 plus 5 plus 6 plus 7 plus 10.
Yeah.
That's $66.
Divided by 10, so that's 6.6, right?
6.6, yeah.
Right, 6.6.
So the average.
Yeah, and then you're going to add for me 1 plus 2 plus, plus 1.43 plus 1.25 plus 1.7. 1.67.
Go ahead.
Plus 5. Plus 2.
Correct.
Plus 1.67.
Okay.
Plus 1.43. Plus 1.
18.45.
You divided by 10, right?
Sorry?
You divided all by 10?
No, I just added those numbers. It's 18.45.
Okay. 18.45. All right, so, okay, looking at my very horrible handwriting, let's just go over a few things, right? Remember, where I have this line here, you took your full $100. You bought 10 shares, and you got 10 units.
Right.
When you do it that way, if you were to sell your 10 units when the price is 5, you've definitely lost out.
Right.
Now, the other way, using a disciplined approach and spending the same amount, investing the same amount, regardless of the price, because this is not so much of a concern to you because you are not you're not selling anything.
You're not selling.
What that does is at the end, it actually reduces the cost.
Right.
That you ended up over that 10-month period, the same $100, you paid an average of $6.60 per share.
Right, and you own now 18.
And accumulated 18.45 shares.
Right.
Cindy, is that clearer? I know this took a really long time, but
it was a good example because I realized I didn't really know the first time. I didn't understand as well.
So my question is, if I were to ask you to explain dollar cost averaging to me now, would you be able to explain it? That's the point I want to get this across as.
Yeah, I think it's much clearer now with the example.
Okay, so if anyone else is confused, let me know and I will explain it to you separately. But okay, Cindy understands, so I feel
Cindy understands.
All right. Yeah, so dollar cost averaging is really important. Like I said, don't try to time the markets. Get a financial advisor. And this is a really important point here. Know what your required rate of return is. A lot of people are investing, and when I ask them, so what's your required rate of return? Meaning, how much, what percentage or what interest rate you would need in order for you to get the desired outcome that you're looking for. People don't know. And so it's really important to sit with a financial advisor and understand what your required rate of return is so that you can employ the correct strategy to get there. And I think that's the advice that I would have for people who are trying to invest during this era. But definitely diversification, dollar cost averaging, those are the 2 points that I want to drive home today.
264 said that they will message you to clarify dollar cost averaging. So what should an investor avoid? We know what we should do, but what should we avoid during this period?
Don't have any emotions. Don't be emotionally driven. That's a big mistake. Avoid touching retirement funds. This is going to contradict what I'm going to talk about later on, but and I'll explain why, but if you can avoid touching from your retirement funds, please avoid it, because remember, that's an investment. You don't want to take money away from it when the price is low.
Right.
Or when the price is high. So if you have savings, then you should pull from your savings first rather than pulling from your investment. And we touched on this earlier. Just remember, it's not a loss until you sell the assets.
Right.
It's only a paper loss if you don't sell. And don't pay attention to the noise. I talked about it earlier as well too. There's always going to be a significant event. If it's not COVID, it was Brexit, it was the mortgage crisis in 2008, 2009. It's always going to be something. After COVID, it's going to be another event.
Right.
So don't pay attention to the noise. Remember that if your strategy is long term, you have time, especially if you're in your 20s or 30s, you have time for your portfolio to recover.
Okay.
And then, of course, call your financial advisor if you need more.
That is true. Have your financial advisor so that you can get a personalized plan for whatever you may be going through.
Yeah.
And lastly, this is more specific probably to the people in the US. So could you touch a bit on the CARES Act and how individuals could benefit from it?
Yeah. So the CARES Act was passed on March 27, 2020. CARES stands for Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Securities Act, and it seeks to address both business owners as well as individuals. I'm not really going to touch on business owners for right now. I'm going to touch more so on individuals. So good news is that income tax payments have been delayed until July 15th. I think generally we pay taxes in April 15th.
Yeah. I haven't filed mine as yet, so.
Okay.
I'm always the person on April 14th.
I will hook up with my accountant. He's really good. I already got my check back. So, but I mean, if you want to hold out, you can hold out until the 15th of July. For those of you guys who are on unemployment, unfortunately, the good news is that there will be an additional $600 coming from the federal government to your unemployment check. So you're going to get whatever you get from the state, and on top of that, you're going to get an additional $600 a week from federal government. But this is going to last only for 4 months. So start looking for a job and spend that money as wisely as possible. Now, this is what I meant when I said I will contradict myself. Now, earlier I said try not to pull from your
retirement.
Yeah, retirement or your investments, right? But because of what's going on, the CARES Act has put in place provisions for those who really need to pull from their retirement. They're going to waive that 10% penalty. Because generally you pay a 10% penalty if you withdraw before a certain age, generally age 59 and a half.
Yeah.
But if you really need that money, they would look at it on a case-by-case basis, and you would be able to pay the 10% penalty on like your IRAs and so on. Required minimum distribution. So this would be for people who are older. So like when you're like 70 and a half, you have to start pulling money out of your retirement. Like it's mandated that you have to start taking that money out. And this is a really bad time to take money out because prices are very low.
Right.
So government has said under the CARES Act that for this year, you don't have to take it out if you don't need it, which is
That's good.
Right? If you're a student, I think payments on student loans are suspended. I'm sure everyone already knows that. And I think by now people would have gotten their $1,200
stimulus check.
Yeah. But the key thing is that if you really need that cash, then just know that that 10% fee will be waived if you have to pull from your retirement.
So Instagram Live is counting us down, Joel, because it's been an hour. Oh, wow. So we're at the 18-second count. Thank you so much for joining me today on financial advising, financial planning. Does anybody else have any questions? We can come back on if they do.
So you can only do Instagram live for an
for
hour.
1 hour. And now we have 2 seconds.